Well, we often read about sexual harassment in the headlines. Celebrities, politicians, and CEOs of major companies.
In the past few years, hundreds of powerful people have become the subject of sexual misconduct allegations.
Yeah, they are allegations often kept private, but when they happen in the public sector, they don't have to be. KSL Investigators spent months examining complaints, lawsuits, and settlements within Utah's government. The goal, to find out the cost of sexual harassment and discover misconduct often left in the dark.
When I look back at my career at the police department, it was good. It was really good.
20 years on the force, an investigator with internal affairs, the first woman on the SWAT team, the face of the Salt Lake City Police Department for many years, and now safety segments on KSL. Robin Hyden's career is full of proud moments and no regrets, except for one.
In fact, I should have reported it early on, and I never did. And then it just, it got worse and worse until somebody finally reported it on my behalf.
Hyden sat down with the KSL investigators and opened up about a case she has never spoken about publicly.
A short time ago,
She was one of 3 female police officers who made headlines saying they were sexually harassed by her superior officer, Deputy Chief Rick Finley, back in 2011.
And I had heard from a couple people that they had been shown a picture of me in my bikini and my best friend that we did not give to him.
Hyden says that's where the harassment started, and it continued for years. Finally, someone reported it anonymously. An internal affairs review substantiated inappropriate behavior, but then she says nothing happened. No action was taken against the accused officer.
I can't imagine that nothing would have been done.
That is really interesting.
The KSL investigators wanted to know, what is the public cost of sexual harassment in Utah?
Implying it was sexy.
He spent the past 6 months examining every government agency in the state, every town, every city, every county, every school district, every state agency. We looked at hundreds of government entities and dug through thousands of pages of sexual harassment cases, lawsuits, and settlements over the past 10 years. While the settlements do not admit any fault, here's a few examples of what public records show. In 2014, a Maiton woman claimed she was stalked and kidnapped by the chief of police. The chief was fired, and the city paid her $50,000 to settle the claim. In 2016, a city employee in northern Utah said she was sexually harassed by the city's mayor. The mayor kept his job, but the city paid her nearly $200,000 after she filed a lawsuit. Again, in 2016, a school counselor in Iron County was accused of sexually harassing at least 8 female co-workers over a 7-year period, with no action taken against him. Together, the women filed a lawsuit, and the school district paid them $540,000 combined to settle the claim. And out of the 320 cases we examined, we discovered a few more things. The agency that fights lawsuits most often is UTA. They only had 1 settlement, but took at least 3 other cases to court. Total cost and attorney fees, more than $350,000. Who had the biggest one-time settlement? That honor goes to Provo City. They paid out $750,000 to 5 women who said that they were harassed by the city's former police chief. And when it comes to sheer numbers, Salt Lake City had the most sexual harassment or discrimination lawsuits filed against them in a 10-year period. 10 women in all, and a total of 7 payouts.
I think the government's much more willing to try to settle the case early.
Russell Monahan has experience fighting government agencies over harassment and discrimination. He believes the public sector settles more quickly than the private sector, but not because they're more willing to spend taxpayer money.
I don't think it's a matter of taxpayer dollars. I think it's a matter of, we see exposure here. Let's try to settle this before it explodes.
At times I felt like the inmates were treated better than me.
Sherry Peak says she was sexually harassed by a supervisor while employed at the Salt Lake County Jail.
And he made the comment that it would be worth putting you up in the acute medical unit just to see you naked. I just couldn't believe it.
Now she's suing Salt Lake County, saying not only was nothing done,
retaliation, and even,
but also she was retaliated against for coming forward.
Because the last thing I wanted to do was be in a federal lawsuit with the county, but it was wrong.
We found that sexual harassment among government agencies in Utah over the past decade comes with a price tag of more than $4.5 million.
I know that I would never put up with that again. I know that for a fact.
Hyden says it's important to know she was sexually harassed by a single individual. She says it was not a department-wide problem.
When did you reach the point you decided, I'm going to file a lawsuit?
I think I started down that path after I realized that he wasn't put on admin leave and that I was still working with him.
Burbank's resignation comes in the wake of a pending sexual harassment lawsuit.
In 2015, Hayden and her 2 fellow officers filed a lawsuit against Salt Lake City. The city settled, paying each of them $85,000. Chris Burbank, who was police chief at the time, was forced to resign. But more importantly to Hayden were the changes that came about within the police department because of it.
We wanted people to know exactly what was wrong with sexual harassment and what is sexual harassment.
While it's easy to focus on the dollar signs, the real goal of many of these lawsuits is a change in workplace cultures that have long tolerated sexual harassment.
What do you hope to come out of this lawsuit?
I hope change. No woman should have to go through this. And I'm hoping that it makes a difference, that more women will stand up and not be afraid.
Now, in some examples, KSL found the government agency's insurance company paid the settlements, but not in every case. Have you experienced something you think just is not right? Well, the KSL investigators want to help out. Visit KSLinvestigates.com to submit your tips so we can get working for you. You ask, KSL Investigates.